Austria closes 24 small border crossings with Hungary and Slovakia in a bid to prevent foot-and-mouth disease from entering the country after its neighbors reported outbreaks. Thousands took part in nationwide protests against US President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk over the current administration's policies. Austria has closed 24 small border crossings with Hungary and Slovakia in an effort to prevent foot-and-mouth disease from entering the country. Slovakia declared an emergency situation on Tuesday after the disease commonly known as FMD was detected on 3 farms. Hungary had its first outbreak of the highly infectious disease in 50 years on Wednesday. The disease, which poses no danger to humans, mostly affects cattle and other cloven-hoofed animals, like swine, sheep, and goats, causing fever and mouth blisters. Outbreaks often lead to trade restrictions and culls of some livestock. Austrian health authorities are conducting rigorous checks at the few open border crossings. Cars and pedestrians crossing on foot have to pass over an epidemic rug to prevent the virus from spreading. Police are also searching vehicles at border points for meat products which are restricted while this emergency persists. Authorities are also preparing contingencies in the case FMD is detected at an Austrian farm. Thousands of people participated in nationwide protests against US President Donald Trump and Tesla boss Elon Musk. Protests took place across major cities from Washington, D.C. to Boston, New York, and San Francisco. The protest movement, so-called Hands Off, was organized from more than 1,200 locations in all 50 states by more than 150 groups. Demonstrators voiced their objection to the Trump administration's approach and policies, which they've labeled as damaging. Critics rallied against Trump tariff policies, which have sent global stock markets into a frenzy. Protesters also demonstrated against Musk, who runs the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Musk has courted controversy for DOGE's aggressive cost-cutting measures, which have laid off thousands of federal employees and effectively shuttered entire agencies. Protests also spilled over beyond the borders, with various hands-off marches taking place across European capitals. U.S. citizens living abroad, as well as foreign nationals critical of Trump, participated in protests from London to Berlin. Protesters rallied against U.S. foreign policy and advocated for Ukraine.
Italy's five-star party called for a rally to protest against the EU's defence spending plans on Saturday. Leader Giuseppe Conte said that in a time of economic difficulty for many families, the idea of spending huge amounts of money on armament is unacceptable. Conte called the rally to oppose the rearmament plan promoted by the Italian government. The Green Left Alliance and a delegation from the Democratic Party also joined the demonstration.
Pope Francis made a surprise appearance in St. Peter's Square on Sunday morning during a special Jubilee Mass for the sick and health workers. He was rolled into the square on a wheelchair in his first public appearance at the Vatican since being released from hospital 2 weeks earlier after a battle with life-threatening pneumonia. In an Angelus prayer read out by Archbishop Rino Fisichella, the pontiff prayed for doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers around the world and wished for peace in places affected by war, as well as more aid for Myanmar and Haiti. The Israeli military has announced the deployment of troops to a newly established security corridor in southern Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced the new Morah corridor on Wednesday and suggested it would cut off the southern city of Rafah, which Israel had ordered evacuated from the rest of Gaza. It was not immediately clear how many troops had been deployed. Meanwhile, new phone footage has been released belonging to one of the 15 Palestinian medics whose bodies were found buried in a mass grave last week. It appears to contradict Israeli claims that its military opened fire on their vehicles because they were advancing suspiciously on nearby troops without headlights or emergency signals. The footage shows the medics driving slowly with their emergency lights flashing, logos visible, as they pulled up to help an ambulance that had come under fire earlier. An Israeli military official said Saturday that their initial account was mistaken and that the incident was under thorough examination.